Black men are leaving the Democratic National Plantation, and I'm happy for them. What's up, YouTube? Like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. So today's topic is about black men leaving the Democratic National Plantation, the Democratic National Committee, and starting to vote more for the Republican Party. Since Obama in 2012, black men have increasingly voted more towards Republicans as they have been able to realize that the Democratic Party no longer serves them. And the point that the Democratic Party tends to want to fight for is not something that supports black men. Black men don't care about the Democrats' radical social liberal ideas. Black men care more about the economy. Black men are no longer being tricked by saying, "Oh, the Republicans are racist." So black men are no longer being swayed by emotional arguments made by Democrats using women and black women to say, "Oh, this, oh that," to try to please their emotions. Black men are more to say, I care more about logic than I care about how someone feels." Black men are no longer saying, "Oh, Republicans are racist." They're just now doing their own research, talking to them and hanging out with them because they're in the middle class. And that the majority of black men are being the middle class. They're more able to talk to each other and say, "Hey, what's going on about the economy?" And the biggest factor is black men in general are more socially conservative than other groups of people, than other demographic groups. Those are my reasons I feel that black men are going to tend to vote more Republicans. This is the reason I feel Trump is going to win the next national election because black men are going to vote more strongly for Republicans than before, in that the whole saying that's racist and whole emotional arguments no longer going to sway us to vote for y'all just because you're saying it. You got to actually have a strong case for us to vote for you, that something that will serve us, not serve, oh, this will serve everybody in the whole, but do nothing for us. This will serve everybody in a whole. And when I say it serves everybody, it doesn't really serve everybody. It serves like what? 3% of the population, and it served what? It served like the LGBTQIA X equals Z plus or minus 2A. It served them more than anybody else. So why would I be supporting them? Black men are no longer being swayed and saying, "Oh, Republicans are against Black Lives Matter. That's racism." Black Lives Matter didn't do anything for black men, didn't do anything for black people in general. Black Lives Matter was a black face for Antifa in the LGBT. So why would I support them? Why would I support the Democrats if they're not doing anything for me? This is why they're starting to learn that, hey, yo, you can't just say, "Oh, you're black, you have to vote for me." "Oh, we're black, we have to be together." Black men are saying, "Yeah, we're black, but what's in it for me? Yeah, we're black, but what are you gonna do for me? You're not doing anything for me, so why would I vote for you? Oh, to raise my taxes so that we could support everybody? Why would I want that? What benefit does that do for me as a black man?" That's why black men are gonna start voting more conservative and more Republican. Right now, I'm gonna show you some of the liberal racism you see when black men are leaving the Democratic National Plantation. You're gonna hear more from the liberal racists of the Young Turks. Let's hear what they gotta say. And why they say that nothing that will support black men at all. None of their policies are going to support black men.
The Democratic Party has increasingly lost support among black males, and now the party is a little worried that this particular demographic is not going to turn up the vote for them in the 2024 general election. So according to the Washington Post, their concern stems from a 10% point decline in black voter turnout in last year's midterms compared with 2018, a bigger drop than among any other racial or ethnic group, according to a Washington Post analysis of the Census Bureau's turnout survey.
Yeah,
So the
this is the
Post
first
reports
now.
that according to the Democratic Party's internal analysis, young and male black voters specifically were voting less in pretty important states like Georgia. And it's important to keep Georgia in mind, okay? Because the black vote certainly turned up in Georgia during the 2020 Senate runoff election. And the reason why they did that is because Biden promised, we get a majority in the Senate, we're gonna give you a voting rights bill. But Democrats did not deliver on that. Didn't even seem like they tried, okay? Now, Mayor Mondale Robinson, who of course is a good friend of the show, didn't mince words when it came to the problem that Democrats are facing. He told the Post, quote, "The Democratic Party has been failing epically at reaching this demographic of black men. And that's sad to say. Black men are your second most stable base overwhelmingly, and yet you can't reach them in a way that makes your work easier." And so this has been an ongoing trend. I noticed it during, Trump's reelection campaign when he somehow managed to get increased support among black males.
Why? A white lady surprised that Trump got black male support? Like, really? Why are you surprised that we didn't want to support your whole radical leftist liberal whole support the LGBTQIA shit? Oh, there's a oh, women are getting paid less than men, but there's no proof. So like, why are you surprised that we're supporting, hey yo, someone that's gonna be better for the economy, someone that's gonna be like support the social issues that we're like care about. So why are you support that we're supporting someone that supports us?
In that election. And so I'm curious what you think about this, Waz. What do you think is at the heart
Why should bring a
of this
black guy
issue?
on?
Why
I
do you
gotta bring a
think the
black guy out to
Republican
ask
Party
this
has
question too.
increased its support among black male voters? And even though it's not part of this particular story, they also increased support among Latino voters as well.
The Latino one is easy. It's because Latinos work hard for their money. So why would they want to increase the taxes so they could pay more? Like you think, oh yeah, because we're gonna do stuff for illegal immigrants, the Latinos we're definitely gonna win the Latino vote. Well, they didn't the one that got here legally, like I made it here legally. I worked for my stuff. I don't care. Like, old boy jumped the border. Like he need to work for his shit too. Like you think that all the immigrants, all the Spanish immigrants are from Mexico. Well, there's other countries, and some of them that come here illegally are not caring about like legal immigration, like helping out people that came here illegally. That's just the truth of it.
The thing about the Republicans gaining support, I think we're talking about something like going from 10% to 12, right? Like it's not as if they've gotten some massive bump in black male vote.
I
And I
forgot what the
think the
numbers. It was
lack of
pretty good.
turnout,
Bump.
which I think is a bigger issue for Democrats, rather than voters flipping, but just general apathy, I think that's a problem to them because they've been found out by a lot of people, guys. Like, I think a lot of people realize that these fools are all talk. And when they do lift a finger, it's to enrich the military industrial complex. It's to crush workers in the railroad
Ukraine.
union. It's not on behalf
$100 billion to
of
Ukraine.
black people at large, and especially black male voters. Like, they're not doing anything for that demographic of people, and all they've done, in fact, is patronize them. And honestly, I think it's a dodge to try to blame some of their electoral issues on the lack of turnout from black males in places like Georgia. I think the lack of enthusiasm generally that they're able to generate, and is because they don't bring anything for people. They just don't. You know, when they snap into order as a party and as an establishment, is to do things for people that are already doing quite well for themselves in our society. And I think people are turning their eyes open to this, and they're not impressed by it. Why should anybody be surprised by this?
Yeah, you know, I think the way Biden handled the potential rail workers strike is such a good example of what you're talking about, right? Because look, in the end, even though he had Congress intervene to prevent that strike from taking place, after that happened, the Biden administration was negotiating pretty hard with the rail companies to secure the paid time off that the workers wanted.
And by the way, it shows you where his allegiances lie. It's like, no, the most important people are gonna get their stuff done right away. They get theirs first, always. And if we can manage to squeeze something through in the, at the 11th hour, then cool. But what was of the utmost importance was that those folks got to keep their money flowing, and the workers could wait.
See, that's even from the Young Turks that say that the Democratic Party no longer serves black men. Black men need to get off the Democratic National Plantation. Like, like it doesn't do nothing for us. Like we out there trying to support them, but like, well, how do they support us? Come on, black men, get out that Democratic National Plantation.
Black Leadership PAC, she described her experiences with black voters as follows. In the past, Smith simply needed to remind people of where and when to vote. Now, she said, many express a cynicism.
Think about that. The Democrat had black people in the black vote in a headlock so long, you gotta tell them where and when to be and they'll vote Democrat. Now they're starting to think, they're starting like, how does this serve me? What are y'all doing it for me? And I'm loving it.
About politics that requires a deeper level of persuasion. She says, quote, when you think about election cycle to election cycle, black voters have been telling us for a long time what matters. They want to put food on the table, a roof over their head, send kids to good schools, live in.
If you're a conservative black man, you vote Republican, you could get support stuff like school choice, where you don't have to send them to the low funding school that you're living in the neighborhood, where you can send them to a better school. Damn, that's the Republican thing. Another thing is a roof over their head and stuff like that. Hey yo, taxes like they're to for the social program that the Democrats want to put in place, they're gonna have to raise taxes, which is gonna be money out of your pockets. Live in a neighborhood that is safe. What is stuff like that? All cops are bad. Defund the police. What I think is police just need better training. We need better community relation programs, like stuff that say, hey, people from the community come out, cops come out, and y'all come together, talk, hang out, chill, and so that get close relationships like that. So we could get the people in the community to start policing their own. Start like, hey, yo, I just saw this, and this. Instead of now they're like, hey, yo, you're not gonna help us anyway. So what's the purpose of me dialing 911?
In neighborhoods that are safe. I don't think the issues are new. It's the way we talk about them and the way we're centering the voice of the people who live in these communities. But look, I would tweak what Brittany is saying just a little bit, because believe me,
She will tweak it because, of course, what they gotta speak for black people.
Democrats love to talk about how they're going to improve people's economic conditions. But I think what's been clear increasingly through all these election cycles is that talk is cheap. And while they rhetorically support these things, when push comes to shove after these elections, after they gain majorities in both chambers of Congress, they don't really fight for the things that they claim to want to accomplish. And I think that's a huge problem.
And that, like, it's like she just realized the issues. Like, she was like, oh, sake blend. Like, black men are not dumb. We're not idiots. We realize that y'all only care about getting elected so you can get paid. You don't care about, like, our issues. You don't care about supporting the people. You care about supporting the radical people that's voice is going to be heard, that voice is going to be re-clicked, shared, and, like, you're going to have here in the news where it's going to make it seem louder when the majority of the people just say, yo, this is what I want. But somebody's screaming, this, what are you gonna listen to? You're gonna listen to one more than the other, and that's what the Democrats are listening to. They're listening to the louder, radical voices versus the majority of the voices that are like, "Hey, yo, we differ from stuff to stuff, but we're voting Democrat, so why don't you support us?" They're like, nope, we're gonna support the radicals. We're not gonna support everybody else. That's why black men are leaving the Democratic National Plantation, because I try to keep the sources I use like not politically centered and stuff like that. I try to keep stuff from the left and stuff from the right. I'm gonna try to bring stuff from both sides. Even though me specifically, I lean towards the right. I'm a conservative. I'm gonna bring up this thing from Fox News to help prove my point that black men are abandoning the Democratic National Plantation.
This is how they reacted to the idea that black voters might be giving Trump a second look.
We are.
Namely, that Trump being an accused felon has broadened his appeal with black voters.
I don't know why, but black people love the people that have been in jail before. Black people love that criminal lifestyle, so maybe.
As one black lady I spoke with earlier today here in New Orleans said, Trump's a gangster. And that means he has cred among a new block of voters that perhaps have never given him a serious look, and now they're looking again.
Y'all don't really know any black people, do you? None, right? None, I figured.
No, Joy. I guess those were imaginary black guests you had on the show the other night, Laura. And I suppose I don't know any black people in New Orleans, my home, a majority black city, and I never go into that city to the communities.
Hey, yo, white boy cooking, play that fucking music, white boy. I get him.
Most affected by DC policies and actually talk to the people that most networks ignore. No, Joy, I've never done any of that, I guess.
Yeah, I guess all those like polls or phantom polls that.
Let's look at this a little bit. 91%, 8% to 8% in 2020. The black support for Biden versus Trump. 61 to 20. Damn, I'm loving it. I love it. Black people are leaving the Democratic National Plantation. 20%, like 19% was still like wandering around like where to go. 20%, like the 11% say, hey, like that's my bad. 12% say, yo, I know where I'm gonna go. Hey yo, come on. Get off the plantation, boy. Get off the Democratic National Plantation. Come to Republicans, bro. We got tax cuts. We got better social programs. We don't support that LGBTQIA equals negative B plus or minus 2. We cool over here. We just cooling over here. Hey yo.
That show Trump has an increasing percentage of the black vote. Is that's all made up? I guess. Oh, they don't like that. They're criticizing the Fox poll. I get it. But Raymond, the thing is, we have to all remember.
It's not just.
Hold on.
It's not just the Fox poll. There are others. Axios, Reuters. They're all saying the same thing.
Well, we have to remind everyone that you cannot be authentically African American in the eyes of some on the left if you don't subscribe to their views on a variety of issues. That's
She said the quiet part out loud. That's what Biden said. Remember what Biden said?
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
That's why they never thought Clarence Thomas was authentically black. Tom Sowell was never black. Walter Williams, any of the people that we featured on our show, they're not real. They're fake, or they're, they use phrases that are horrible, like Uncle Tom. So that's what they think. They're not actually authentic. So I take issue with that.
Well, that way they was cooking. It might have been unseasoned, but she was straight cooking the Democrat Party.
Democrats are apparently seeing the same polls that everybody thinks is make-believe, and I think they're worried, Laura. It's so bad. Al Sharpton is trying to
worry for sure.
Trump's urging the death penalty for the Central Park Five in the 1990s.
Let them come and tell the rappers and others that are being seduced by Trump what he did in his hometown to innocent black men.
Now, wait a minute. Rappers are being seduced by Trump. He better watch that. Joy Reid's liable to tell him he doesn't know any black people. But the interesting thing here is, of all the people trying to recall the early 90s and the late 80s, Laura, Al Sharpton should be the last one talking about race and that period. I have two.
Bruh, Al Sharpton, if he got one card in his deck, it's the race card for sure. And you know what card I got? Big screen. Hey yo, I got my. Y'all already know. Lego.
2 words for him. Tawana Brawley.
Tawana Brawley.
Remember that hoax?
Oh, yeah. Well, and we know what they do to black Americans who get in their way. And that's to the next point that you were going to raise.
Yeah, well, this is the other problem that the Democrats have, and it's an electoral one. Cornel West. This is West commenting on Bernie Sanders and the Democratic Party. Listen to this.
They are dominated by their corporate wing. They're dominated by the militarists when it comes to foreign policy, and that he and AOC and the others are going to be, in a certain sense, window dressing. The Democratic Party is beyond redemption at this point.
Raymond, I love how Joe and Kamala, their answer to all this with what, a new outreach to the black community, and it consists of inviting a few elites to the White House for a photo op and a listening session.
Kamala and I wanted to convene this incredible group of civil rights leaders for a simple reason: to thank them and to tell them what they tell us. We know we got a lot more work to do.
There is an antidote to this. I am sure of it. It will be rooted in our courage, like those who 60 years ago marched and stood. There is an opportunity in front of us.
Laura, do you think this moves the needle 1 iota in the community itself? See, I think raising grocery prices, rising gas prices, the crime that members of the black community are enduring every day, that's what they see and experience. And this stuff, a bunch of elites sitting around the table with Biden with this, they have to do this heavy editing job because nobody made a coherent sentence that they can play in toto. I doubt if this really moves the needle with black America, but we'll see. We'll see very shortly.
I mean, I'm not sure if nobody made a coherent statement. I'm betting that Biden did not make a coherent statement. I'm happy to hear from anybody on any of these subjects, but don't claim to have the market cornered on what people care about, because I think a lot of people are worried about this economy, and that's why they want to whip up, racial fears and tensions. Racism is horrific, but thank goodness it's not at the core of everything we are in our country anymore.
Hey yo, 2 white girls, and you see how both of them approach the situation. One is trying to say like they know what black people think, trying to say this is what black people should do. One is like, hey, y'all no longer could do that. They're thinking for themselves. I'm like, y'all see it, right? Tell me I'm not crazy, right? Like, black people are waking up. That fucking Hey, yo, black people are waking up. You no longer try to get us to vote for the Democratic Party by saying, "Oh, them over there, they're racist." You know, want to get someone to vote for by saying, "Oh, but but feelings this, feelings that." We're more like black men in general are more logical thinkers and care more about our money than we care about. Oh, feelings this. What about poor so and so? All the crazy in Ukraine. What about so in Ukraine? We need to get them. No, you expect me to care more about Vladdy in Ukraine than my boy Jamal back home? Nah, get out of here, bro. It ain't like that no more. Like, you're not gonna get us to vote for just say, oh, they're racist. Oh, the emotional argument. Oh, but the LGBTQIA, we don't care about that stuff. We care more about the social issues that black people care about is not about the gender pay gap. The social issues that black men care about is not, black men care about is not about the gender pay gap. It's not about the trans issue. Black men don't care about that because the majority of the time we care more about other things. Black men in general just care more about other things than the trans issue. That's not a big issue to us. We care more about things like we care more about things that happen to like violence on a day-to-day basis than the trans issue. That's not even up there on the list for black men at all as an issue we care about. The whole gender pay gap, that's a whole myth. That doesn't exist. So we're like, we don't care about that. Now, if any group want to do, now if any group wants the black male vote, they gotta do stuff that black men care about. And when you talk about lowering taxes, increasing job, increasing security, increasing border security, like that's the stuff that black men care about more than we're gonna do stuff for the trans, abortion, the female gender pay gap which doesn't exist. We're gonna do stuff for that. We're gonna do but we don't listen to black people. We've been saying the same thing for the longest. And if you don't listen to us, we're not gonna vote for you no more. We're getting black men are getting off the Democratic National Plantation, and I hope the sisters follow. But that's it. That's everything I gotta say. I'm out of here.
And we're out of here like a screaming herd of turtles.